Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me on February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day. If you're celebrating today with someone special, I hope it's a great day for you. But hey, a very interesting week in the MBS markets, very volatile, but we appear to be ending on a high note, which is exactly what we want. So let's get to it. Mortgage applications for the prior week, purchases down 2%. Refinance activity up 10%. So, still a lot of interest in refinancing right now. Not surprising despite the interest rates. Initial jobless claims, those filing for the first time, down 7,000 and continuing down 31,000. Now, the biggest news this week was CPI, PPI, and then retail sales. So, let's get right into it with the CPI report. Actually, okay. Anyways, Consumer Price Index report. So CPI for January 2025, the core number up 0.4%. So a little bit high, and that kind of set off the MBS markets in the wrong way. Within those components, you can see that used car sales are at 2.2% month over month. Motor vehicle insurance costs still problematic at 2% up. The shelter component, always a big factor in those numbers, but lodging away being the driver at this point at 1.43% month over month increase. Now, the headline number was at 0.5%, but more attention is paid to the core number versus the headline number. But within the headline number, you can see all the components that kind of drive that number. Again, motor vehicle insurance and used cars, the shelter component, food and energy. Now, this week, we also got some information on credit card debt. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because retail sales for the month of January were much lower than expected. They were down 0.9%, but the headline number and the core number was down 0.8%. If you look at this chart here, you can see that consumer debt continues to climb. The only reprieve was during the COVID period where people simply weren't going out because they couldn't. Everything was closed, so they were saving money. We've clearly bypassed that, and the consumer debt continues to climb. Might explain why maybe at this point we might see some tempering on the retail sales numbers as people maybe kind of hitting a max with that debt. Will be interesting to see, because what plays out here is if consumers do stop spending now because they've kind of peaked out on their credit card debt, that's going to slow the economy. That implies recessionary tendencies. We'll see what happens, but consumer debt is climbing, and this is the first time in a while, and this is a big miss where we've seen headline sales or retail sales come in so low. So again, maybe we're hitting that wall. But with CPI, those numbers, the next day we got PPI, that's wholesale inflation rather. And those numbers were better than expected. So it reversed course on the core numbers. We saw some weaknesses in there that helped kind of walk back the losses we saw from CPI. So if we take a look at the charts, I'll show that to you. You can see here that big red bar at the end there. That was the one the CPI came out. People didn't like the numbers, but then PPI the very next day made ground right back up. And then today, some consumer confidence issues with retail sales. So we're getting some positive traction here these last 2 days, which is really nice to see. If you have any questions, that's all I got for you today. Feel free to reach out to me. I do appreciate when you like my videos. I hope you have a fantastic Valentine's Day. Do something special with someone you care about. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.